Hey, thanks for joining our session today. We're going to be talking about a blueprint for profitable XaaS transformation, which is focused on driving customer engagement and net revenue retention. My name is Sean Moore. I lead the high-tech sales and commercial solutions group at Genpact, where we're focused on consulting and managed services across insights-driven sales, profit-driving revenue operations, and CX-led customer service.
Hi there, my name is Matt Harmon. I'm head of everything as a service operations at Aruba Networks, which is a Hewlett Packard enterprise company.
All right, let's get started. Thanks, Matt. Who remembers these titans of industry? Kodak was a juggernaut that dominated the photo film industry for decades, at one point reaching 80% market share in the US and 50% globally. But they ignored the digital disruption facing their industry in favor of their core business, and they went bankrupt in 2012. Blockbuster was the king of the video rentals in the 80s and 90s, but they made some bad decisions with their digital strategy, and they turned down buying Netflix in 2000 for $50 million. We know the rest of the story. They went bankrupt in 2010, and now Netflix is worth over $100 billion. And BlackBerry was a game changer who at one point had nearly 50% of the US mobile phone market share. And then in 2007, Apple introduced the iPhone, which changed the way people use their phones and apps. But BlackBerry ignored the customer experience disruption, and their market share tanked to 6% in 2013. These are cautionary tales for today's legacy tech giants because the XaaS transformation is here now. But the good news is that the opportunity in this space is enormous. The XaaS market valuation will go from $436 billion in 2021 to $2.4 trillion over the next 6 years. That's a 28% compound annual growth rate. So what's fueling this? The top factors at play are revenue predictability, customer demands, reducing costs, improved agility and efficiencies. So why do I personally care about this? Because I work for Genpact, and we are a global consulting and digital transformation company. Genpact began as a business unit within GE in 1997 and spun off in 2005. We went public in 2007, and we're now a $4 billion company with 105,000 employees. We serve our clients in 90 delivery centers across 30 countries, and our engagements over the years have evolved from delivering cost and productivity gains to driving digital and analytics-led transformation. In my patch, I'm focused on the high-tech lead-to-cash revenue lifecycle, and our mission is to design future-ready sales teams for our clients. And the future of sales for us is about leading with insights-led selling, digital customer experiences, and sales culture transformation. We drive value that goes beyond cost savings to focus on driving revenue growth and enhancing the customer experience. And we're proud to list 25% of the Fortune 500 as our customers. And we manage over $500 billion in revenue for them across marketing analytics, inside sales, commercial operations, and customer success. And we are doubling down on helping our clients navigate through XaaS transformation. While the promise is strong, the business model complexity increases in terms of platform, pricing, and scalability needs. Pricing and packaging shifts from single SKUs to multiple pricing and consumption options. Order management shifts from a one-time sale to supporting ongoing services for replace, renew, add-on, and suspend. Billing moves from a one-time invoice to flexible metered usage-based invoices. And customer experience evolves from a transactional event to an ongoing connected relationship where the customer has much lower switching costs. Finally, metrics shift from tracking number of customers and units sold to recurring revenue, churn, and customer lifetime value. There's a wide spectrum of options to choose from when evaluating flexible consumption models, from subscriptions to pay-per-use to outcome-based. And deciding on the right model depends on a number of factors, including the industry, the product or service offering, the company's risk appetite, the competitive landscape, and customer buying preferences. Customers need to evaluate which model will help them address customer needs while maximizing revenue. And competition is fierce in the XaaS economy, and differentiation and growth is increasingly driven by dynamic rules-based pricing, deal cycle reduction time via self-service options, integrated and automated order to usage to invoicing to collection capabilities, deal profiling and propensity modeling, enabling channel partners to offer value-add solutions, and ultimately simplifying and personalizing the selling process to create a better customer experience. But if this is the utopian result, how do we get there? There are 5 critical decision areas. The first is go-to-market strategy, which is all about your product value proposition, market messaging, pricing models, offering packages, and sales channels. On market messaging, when you move from perpetual to subscription, the value proposition for your customer changes. And so the messaging and positioning around the value of your solution needs to change to meet the needs of your economic buyers. On pricing models and offerings, you need to have an entry-level package that quickly attracts customers and creates those aha moments when they're using your product. There also needs to be a built-in upsell roadmap to facilitate growth as your customers increase product adoption. And as offerings become more software and data-driven, companies may have to set up entirely new channels and partnerships to take them to market. And will you build your own cloud infrastructure, or will you host via a third-party provider? As our clients make this transition, we often advise them to retain the legacy business models for their existing customers while they test their cloud-based flexible consumption models with new products and regions. The second major component is product readiness. Investments will be needed to ensure the products can be provisioned and used in a subscription model. This includes the analytics that will need to be deeply woven into your solution, especially if usage or user-based pricing variables will be at play. In usage-based pricing, the product needs to generate a signal for your billing software that will then result in an invoice. And another differentiator is self-service provisioning. Are you going to use a services team to provision, or will you enable self-service for some functions like adding users and modules? The third component is the customer's buyer journey. And in a few minutes, my friend Matt Harmon is going to tell you about how this has been an essential focus area for Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. It is imperative that you map the buyer journey in a subscription revenue model. Understand each step and align the journey to your internal processes. Once the customer journey is aligned with the sales and operational processes, you'll then need to reassess the organizational roles and responsibilities. For example, a sales exec may still be responsible for landing the account, but once landed, who's responsible for the onboarding? Today, that might be a professional services team, but tomorrow, that might be customer success. And who's responsible for monitoring and understanding the product utilization metrics? Product utilization data can fuel growth and churn propensity models, but who's responsible for identifying the opportunity? Who's responsible for closing it? And do you still need that expensive account executive? And today, you may have an annual maintenance fee that is renewed by a dedicated services team. But with an annual subscription, who's now responsible for nurturing the customer relationship throughout the life cycle to ensure the subscription renewal is a sure thing? In practice, it is a maze of decisions to navigate. The fourth component is go-to-market team enablement. The customer acquisition process fundamentally changes, and this requires broad sales culture transformation. Your sales teams have been conditioned to maximize the initial value of the contract. They're used to going after the 7-figure deal with a sweet commission paid right away, and the company sees rapid revenue recognition upon delivery of the product. But in the subscription world, your sales team may be landing a $100K deal with a $2 million customer lifetime value. And that's an entirely different sales process that will require a new sales methodology. One of the hardest parts on this journey is the sales culture transformation, because you're changing the mindset of the sales team from a transaction to a long-lasting relationship where they have accountability for outcomes. Not to mention, it may also have a negative short-term impact on their commission earnings, so it is important to create interim and long-term commission structures to ensure that they come along for the ride and don't attrit. The final component is financial management and reporting. There are vastly different revenue recognition policies with subscription revenue. FASB introduced ASC 606 in 2018, which changes all the revenue trend lines. It used to be that you could sell your product and immediately recognize the full value of the sale after implementation. But now, if you're signing a 3-year contract with a SaaS subscription, you're going to have to recognize that revenue as it accrues over 36 months. This financial purgatory is often referred to as swallowing the fish, and it does have a negative impact on revenue growth rates. But revenue will begin to accelerate again after 2 to 2.5 years. Splunk is a great example here. When they went through the perpetual to subscription transition, Wall Street really punished them because they saw reduced revenue growth. Had Splunk been able to recognize bookings up front, they would have seen a dramatic increase. And now their long-term cloud-first vision is paying off big time. The final piece here is metrics. Both your public and institutional investors will be closely monitoring several key metrics, and you will need to be able to produce them. Gross revenue retention, or GRR, has the highest impact on enterprise valuation multiples and reflects your ability to retain customers. Net dollar retention, or NRR, looks at your ability to both retain and expand customers. By adding expansion sales in the numerator, you can see the health of the upsell and cross-sell machine, which is a great indicator for customer health. We are seeing best-in-class subscription companies driving 120 to 130% NRR today. And there are roughly 15 core metrics that Wall Street will be watching: customer lifetime value and the customer lifetime value to CAC ratio are a few of them. And they all have causal relationships to the enterprise value multiples, which are much higher for subscription models than in perpetual ones. At Genpact, we have the industry benchmarks for all of these, so we can look at almost any client, set their target levels, and help them design processes and instrument their internal systems like their CRM and subscription billing software to support the creation of metrics that their investors will be tracking. So where do you start? I'm going to give you a quick look into how Genpact guides customers through this transition. We start by defining the entire lead to cash process architecture. This includes pricing, licensing, quote to order, fulfillment, and billing. And we map the underlying data architecture to create an integrated data foundation that can support subscription, BI, and reporting needs. For each level 3 capability, we take 2 actions. We present all the industry trends and emerging models that are applicable for our clients. And secondly, we craft a decision-making framework connected to a business case. To give you an example of each one of these, let's take licensing management. Here's an example of the industry trends and emerging models for licensing management. We weigh all of the relevant industry trends that could impact decision-making from strategy to technology, customer needs, and operations. We then evaluate the appropriate emerging models for flexible consumption and identify the right mix. To give you a view into the decision-making framework, I'll go back and I'll select the billing level 3 example. So here's an example of a detailed billing decision-making framework. We walk through the details of what needs to be billed, who needs to be billed, how to monetize, and how to measure and report. So in summary, we recommend a crawl, walk, run approach. There are many steps involved, and it is a significant investment, but it could have a huge long-term payoff. So with that, I will turn it over to my friend and co-speaker, Matt Harmon from Hewlett Packard Enterprise.
Hi there. Thank you and welcome for joining our session today. Once again, my name is Matt Harmon. I'm the Director, Head of Everything as a Service Operations at Aruba. For those who aren't familiar, Aruba Networks was founded in 2002 and acquired in 2015 by Hewlett Packard Enterprises. We are the networking business unit of HPE. So if you've ever visited a Home Depot, a Lowe's, stayed at a Marriott, and jumped on the Wi-Fi, it is the Aruba hardware that's powering that network. We're approximately at $4 billion in revenue, and we're a global leader in the secure and intelligent edge-to-cloud networking solution. And we leverage AI to address the security risks, of our ever-changing digital world. Aruba for many years has had a cloud offering. In 2019, Antonio Neri, our CEO, said all of the products in the HPE portfolio would be moving to as a service. This was a very bold statement that he made a few years back, and we're on track to complete this by end of the year. There was a lot of challenges with this. There was a mindset shift that had to happen, and a lot of new thoughts and processes had to come out as a result of it. But at the end, this change is allowing us to grow faster and deliver better performance, better products to our customer. We have, by the end of this year, we will have launched all of our products on our GreenLake Cloud platform, which will give our customers a single pane of glass to be able to access their entire HPE portfolio. And how are we doing that? To support those customers, I really look at it as there's two hands. You have the right hand, who's going to be your customer, your verticals. These are different CSMs, customer-facing teams, which are directly interacting with the customers. They represent a variety of different products and services, and their skill sets are tailored to the product line that they support. The other hand is your horizontals. This is where my team comes into play. This is the everything as a service operation team. We're supporting the verticals. At the end of the day, they are our customer, and we need to make them successful. Depending on the needs of the different verticals, we plug and play different horizontal teams in to assist. But the value of the horizontals is that we are able to provide a consistent customer experience to our end customer, no matter what product or offering they buy. This allows us to scale as we have SMEs in different horizontal lanes. And we also are able to work in an MVP methodology. So we are very agile and work in sprints to be able to create new journeys for our customer. I compare the horizontal team to a full service construction company. From the architect who designs the house to the data team who helps tell you how the solar panels that you added are saving money. So let's talk about each of these teams. The customer CX enablement team, they are designing the journey that we want our customers to go on. This team works in the new product or new service introduction. They focus on getting that customer from point A to point B, holding workshops with the product teams to design their customer journey. So as you see here, this is an example of one of our journey maps. All the green dots are representing some digital touch point that's going out with the customer, with the orange dots or squares being a human interaction depending upon where they're at in their journey, what segmentation they are. The journey map team really focuses on understanding holistically what's going on and how to make that customer successful. The next team is the systems and tools team. These are my contractors. They're the ones who build the house. They implement those journey phase map. They manage the tech stack. And one thing I like to look at is that we're a large company, many acquisitions, many different business needs over the years. So everything we build it in a platform agnostic manner, because we want to be able to do repeatable business regardless of what products and tools are in use by the different teams. These tools are also designed to empower the delivery teams, make the CSMs more successful, drive efficiency in their interactions, save time, and bring value to the customer. The next team is the delivery team, or our digital communications. It's been researched that the more engaged the customer is, they're going to buy more often, they're going to spend more, and end up having a larger value. Our digital comms team's focus is on the strategy, development, execution of the digital communications to our customers, where we're trying to engage with throughout the entire journey. They're driving the adoption and moving them through that maturity curve to really have the customer be successful. As you see here, this is our digital avatar, Steve. He's part of all of our digital comms. This is because early on we realized that 90% of our customers were what we call our tech touch, or our tier 3 customers. So we wanted to make sure that we had a representation that would interact with them and help keep those customers engaged. Now that we've engaged, we've talked about the digital engagement, let's move on to the next team, the enablement team. This team has two missions. They're a teacher and they're also a subject matter expert. As a teacher, they teach the CSMs about how to interact with a customer, work with the presentation skills, and how to really connect and be that trusted advisor with the customer. As an SME, they're a certified Aruba expert. They are providing product training to the CSMs. They're on the calls with the CSM when it's a technical question from a customer. They leverage the CSM, who's that trusted advisor, to help uncover upsell and cross-sell opportunity by hearing what the customer is trying to solve for and providing a solution that is in the customer's best interest. And from here, we go to the last team, the data and metrics team. This team is more than just creating a bunch of Power BI dashboards. They are trying to find or show the impact of the team, show the impact of those digital communications, show the impact of why you want a CSM on an account versus accounts that don't have a CSM. As it's been said many times, you can't improve what you can't measure. But more than just providing those metrics, they're also going into depth on our install base, leveraging machine learning models to understand the customer behavior and to be as predictive as possible. So where do we go from here? Over the past half hour, we've shared with you some of the methodology and ideas on how to transform as part of the new everything as a service economy, and shared with you some of the real world execution of this. We'd like to leave you on this slide. It's not instantly going to happen. You need to think about this in the crawl, walk, run phase. Referring back to Sean's slide earlier about the 5 key decisions when going to this kind of model, you need to realize you can't do everything. So you need to kind of prioritize and look at what you have control of. Customer success is one of the most powerful teams in a company, but they can't always impact the product readiness or market strategy. But what they can do is have an impact on that customer journey. They can help design how it should be and influence it. Have the customer's voice at the design of offerings. And we can empower them with knowledge. Empower the CSMs, empower the digital teams with information on the product. And we can also have them be resources, SMEs that are there in front of the customer. And finally, the ability to report out the metrics, whether they're just your monthly MBRs that you do within your team or going up to the street. Being able to report out what the metrics are and how the health of the business is vitally important. You can't be successful in your SaaS, everything as a service transformation, unless you really are able to think about the customer, drive engagement, and be able to report back on it. So once again, thank you on behalf of Sean and myself. We appreciate your time today. And if you have any questions, our contact information is here.